Welcome to the video. In this video, we're going to be looking at the basics of macOS Terminal. So if you're a beginner developer, or if you're interested in becoming a developer, if you're just an enthusiast who wants to learn how to use AI to build websites or web applications or mobile apps or APIs, even if you're using the AI tools, it's going to benefit you to learn how to use at least the basics to get a foundation set in Terminal, because you'll be able to install a lot of tools and do things that AI is not going to be able to do, or it's going to make it much easier for you to do ahead of time when you're building with these AI tools. So let's go ahead and get started. I'm going to press my Command Shift key and go ahead and type in terminal, and I'll press enter to open it up. This brings us into the terminal window. And at this point, we can go ahead and start typing in our commands to do different things. But I want to look up here and kind of go through the terminal settings. So let's go to terminal and then click on settings. And then we're in the general. Okay, and I'll quickly go through this. So in this right here, you can kind of set what the default terminal profile is, and we'll look at profiles in a minute. So in a minute. So when you first open up the default profile that will open up, you can choose a different profile, and then you can customize those profiles. Now, if you have Windows groups set up, you can use Windows groups, and we'll talk about that briefly in a minute. Shell opens with the default login shell, or you can do the command. So we're using the newer ZSH shell. You may be using Bash or Fish or whatever, but that's what we're going to be working with today. And of course, new windows open with. So if you're opening a new window, you can, like we are, when you first open up the window, or if you're opening up a window and you're not, instead of opening a tab, it's going to be you can set it to be either the default profile or the same profile as you have set up there. And then of course, open a new tab can be the same profile or default profile. And of course, you can have the default working directory or same working directory. So let's go ahead and just go through to the profile. And this is where you really start to have the power to adjust, to make changes here and have it look however you want. You can set the default. So if you click on one of these profiles, you can set that profile as a default. So when you open up a new shell, a new tab, you can see that it's that default. And that looks really ugly. So we'll close that out. But you can see that it creates that as your default. You can change the background colors of these. So I'm going to set this back to that. And you can change the background of these by clicking this right here and then going through and changing it. And you can see it does work in real time. So you can kind of adjust that color to however you want that background to look. You can also add images as a background by clicking here and then choosing the image. You can adjust the font, and then here's some different text options you can have for bold and whatnot. So allow blinking text. You can just use the ANSI colors as well. You can change this color, the cursor right here. So you have a lot of flexibility here. Let's go to the Windows. So this is the terminal title. So this you can change what appears up here. So if you want the full path, you click there. If you want the shell command, so if we get rid of this right here, we can have it show the shell command. We can have it show the profile name, which is our basic profile. We can have it show the terminal name, which is the actual terminal here. And we can have the dimensions. So if we click on dimensions, we can see it's 80 by 24. And if we look down here, it's 80 by 24. Command keys, so we can see the keyboard keys right here. Speaking of the window size, we can now also change this. So I'm going to slide this over and make this larger. So if I go to 100 and press enter, we see it's wider. If I go to here and type 40 and we see that it's taller. So you can adjust the size. The scroll back, so we can change this. It defaults, I believe, to 1,000 lines of code. So or commands or code or whatever that appears here. So 1,000 lines of text you can scroll up to. and it limits to 1,000. You can change that limit. So I believe the max is 10,000, but you can adjust this to find out. Um, and then of course on resume. So if you close the window and come back, you can resume where the text and reopen where it left off. You can limit that to 1,000, and then you can insert a bookmark. So each time you come back, you can see where it closed and opened. And then of course minimize window. You can display the status of the current content in the dock. Window groups. So I missed a tab here. So the tab, now this is where we start getting into tabs. We don't have a tab open right now. So I'm going to open up a tab. So I'm going to right click on a folder. Now you can do this. You can open up click here and then open a folder in a new tab. Oops, I'm in Finder. You can go to Shell and click New Tab, and you can create, choose whichever profile you want. Of course, you just choose the basic. I'm going to right click on this folder. I'm going to go down to Services, and then I have the option to open a new terminal at folder, or I can open Terminal tab. So I'm going to choose Terminal tab, and we see now I have this Terminal tab open. And so if I go back to this, I can see that this title, we have the working directory, and we also have the terminal name there, but I want the working directory. So this is our home directory, and this is this folder that we just opened up. So, and we can remove that, and it's just terminal. You can have the active process name. So we are using, which would be the shell in this case. If you nanoed or if you had something going on, it would show up there instead. And then we can have the terminal ID here, so the terminal name, which we've got the TTYS 001 or 000 and then 001 here. So, and then you have the options. You can do the show other items, which with custom title name, which that's not going to show right now, but and then the indicator. So you have a lot of different things that you can do with that. Shell. So if we go over to shell, you can on startup have certain shell commands run, and then you can, when you exit the shell command, you can have it either close the window or not close it, or wait till the shell exits cleanly. And of course, you can ask before closing. Keyboard, you can adjust keyboard shortcuts that work here. You can learn them by looking here. You can add new or edit them. We won't go into advanced, but this kind of gives you an idea of how this works. So I'm going to go back to my text here. I'm going to change my color back to black. Close that. I'm going to close this out. So now let's go ahead and dive into doing some actual commands here. So if you want to know what directory you're in, you want to show the full path, type in pwd, and it gives you that full path. So if you want to know the folders and files that are in the folder that you're in, you type in ls, and it gives you the folders, the list of the folders and files that are in there. Now, if you type in ls-l, this gives you a list, a view, and then it gives you more details. Now, if we type in ls-la, it shows you the list, but it also shows you hidden files in there that you normally wouldn't be able to see. Now, if you want to open up this folder inside a Finder window, if you type in open with a dot, it will open whatever folder you're in into the Finder window. So now we've opened it up here. We'll close it out. Now, if you want to go into like in Finder, if you double click this, now we're into this we're here. So, but if we double click this, now we're into this folder. So if we want to do that here, we use the command cd. So change directory, put a space, and then type in the name of the folder that you want to go into. So now if I press list, we see it's the same items that are here. And then we're showing, of course, the hidden ones here. I have mine set up to show hidden folders. So if you want to go back to the previous directory, we go cd and then ... and now we're back here. So if we want to create a directory, we would just go mkdir, and then we would say, we'll just say test for our test folder. So if I press enter, and then now I go list, or ls, I see it here as well, but we see that this folder has been created. So I want to enter into this folder, and now if I press S, there's no, or ls, there's nothing in there. So if I want to create a file, I can go touch, and then we'll just go test.txt, press enter. So now if I do ls, I see that there's a test.txt file. Now I can edit that in the terminal by typing, well, there's multiple ways to do it, but the simplest way to do it is just typing nano, and then we'll go test.txt. If I do that, now I'm inside this editor, the nano editor, and I can go ahead and say this is a test. And now to exit this, I'm just going to do Command and then X. Oops, I'm sorry, Control X. Thinking without, you get, becomes muscle memory, and when you think about it, you kind of get lost. All right, so Control X. So now, if I want to look at the files in here, and let's say I want to open a text file in the default directory, I can type in open and then type in test.txt, whatever file that is. And now if I press enter, it opened it up in the default directory for files that have the extension of txt. So whatever extension that's there, it's going to open up whatever the system defaults to. So we're in text edit, and we see the text that we added here. And so we can type in here, whoops, here is another line. I'll press save, and then I'll close this out. And now if I go back into Nano, actually, before I do that, I want to show you, to go through the history of your commands, you can press the up arrow. So we see that that was our last command. That was before that. And now we can go back and resubmit this command by just pressing enter. And we see inside the editor that we have this here is another line. Okay, so this kind of gives you a brief sort of introduction and gives you a foundation, a small foundation on how to get started with these commands. In another video, we'll expand on this and get more into deeper commands and do more things. But this is a good place to stop for this video. Hope you enjoyed it, and I will see you in the next one.